and he was touching the insides of these animals, that he just sort of got
strike one. Blitz, you got a son. He's 14. He just discovered, how to masturbate. And, the average guy like me, you, growing up, when we discovered our penis, we'd want to be in private and maybe try to get like a little girly mag, or maybe some of the newer kids were able to actually look at porn on their phone. But nobody that's normal is touching themselves when they're coming out of puberty. He
doesn't know that. He's just making a hypothesis.
Yeah, he was just coming out of puberty.
He's coming out of puberty, and he was touching animals' insides. Strike 1, 2, and 3, bitches. My kid's weird. I need to take him to the doctor.
But he was playing with that animal since he was like a young kid.
Hardwired neuronally into connecting the sexual pleasure with this type of activity.
So Blitz is saying he was jaying off to touching to animals.
Yeah.
You can't jay off to animals.
Dead ones.
No.
Where do you learn that from?
Yeah, and like
his parents showed him.
I remember Larry Plummer's the one taught me
how to jerk.
How to masturbate. He didn't teach me. He just told me about it.
What did he say?
He's like, hey, if you rub your penis real hard, then eventually you kind of get this tingling feeling, and then something comes out of your penis.
What?
This white stuff.
Glow?
And then I'm like, well, I've never done that. And he goes, well, you know what? Tom Johnston, who was his next door neighbor, told him about it. See, that's how things get handed down in the neighborhood.
Actually, yeah.
It really, Blitz, I mean, you agree. Like the older boys kind of tell the younger boys kind of like the lay of the land.
Yeah.
That's how my dad never took me aside and said, son, just want to let you know, you're going to be, you're starting to get.
Yeah, if you do this and that.
Yeah, if you pull out your penis and you start, put it in the vacuum cleaner, it starts getting a little bit crazy, and it starts tingling, feels real good for about 7 or 8 seconds. That's called an orgasm, and then a bunch of stuff comes out. Don't put it on the mama's dish rag.
And you can do it 13 times a day.
I mean, yeah, and nobody. I didn't even have that conversation with my son. They just kind of figure it out, nature. Yeah. And so in my generation, Tom Johnston, who was a couple years older than Larry, like 16, Larry is like 13. He told Larry, "Hey, you get one of your dad's Playboys or Hustlers or Wii or Cherries or something like that, and you do this and you do that. Next thing you know, you got that. Feels super good.
Having a party.
Yeah, it's all you want to do ever.
And then once you get that feeling, you're like, oh my God, that's what this is all about? This feels good.
So someone had to tell you to masturbate? You never intuitively just started touching yourself because it felt good?
Yeah, you do, but you don't know where you don't know.
Where it can end up.
Yeah, you touch it and you get it aroused and things like that. And I'm being very medical here. You get it aroused, but you don't know that there's a payoff on it. Right. You don't know, as a boy, you don't know. You're like, you don't know that I got to keep touching it and touching it and touching it till I get to a point where I do that.
Well, obviously you didn't have a squirrel to look at the inside of.
Yeah. So, if Larry Plummer had taken me aside and said, listen, we have to kill a squirrel. And then we have to fillet it open.
Can I eat it?
And then you got to put your hand inside of it and grab its heart and its intestine and stuff while you're, grabbing your penis.
Oh, say no more, Larry. I already know what to do.
Larry, I don't even know how to catch a squirrel. I don't.
Hey, Bubba, have you done the... no, I haven't yet because I haven't been able to catch a squirrel.
Yeah, those things are fast as hell.
Can I use a cat instead?
Larry, I'm gonna be 25 before I catch my first squirrel. Larry, I'm gonna be way out of the teenager masturbation zone by the time I get a squirrel.
Come here, Inky.
So Larry tells me we're waiting. I can remember like it was nothing. We were waiting for in 7th grade, and after a football practice, you'd sit on the curb until your mom came and picked you up. And, it was about 5:30, 6 o'clock, and your mom would come. Either she'd be leaving work and come get you or whatever. And you're sitting there, and different moms got there. Like there were some moms that were waiting for you when you got out of the locker room, moms who necessarily didn't have jobs. And then there was me and Larry Plummer's mom who had jobs, and they got there when they could. And sometimes that means you had to sit there for 20 or 30 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, you did. And we didn't have cell phones or anything like that. You just talked. You just like, hey, what's going on? Nothing, man. Did you see Lori Howard today? God, I know. She's so hot. I heard she didn't wear a bra. Really? Yeah. Wow. You just think of all this stuff, Anna.
Yeah.
You're 13, 14 years old, and your testosterone 7,000.
Yeah.
You get an erection at night and everything, and you're rubbing it, but you don't know anything about it. I mean, you don't know there's a payoff on the deal.
You're dumb as hell.
Dumb as hell. And back there, I'm talking 1979, 1978, there is no porn on the internet. You had to go and try to sneak one of your dad's mags, or somebody in the neighborhood had a mag, and it got handed down to like generations. And so by the time you got it, the Moore boys had it, and Tom Johnson had it, and there was pages torn out, or they were stuck together.
They keep it in the ditch, or they keep it at the wood. Keep it in the woods.
You keep it in the woods underneath like some wood, underneath like an old door.
Yep.
With some leaves on top of it, and it get mold, and sometimes you'd open up your skin mag, and it'd have like worms and maggots in it.
Ew.
And you have to brush, right, Blitz? You'd have to brush off all the dirt and maggots so that you could get your wiener out. So,
if I had $1 for every time,
if
I had to brush off the dirt and maggots,
I know
and then
it.
get my wiener out.
I know it. You'd be, you have a new truck by now. That's what you do, Anna. You drive your bike and you go get the mag. If there wasn't anybody else in the neighborhood that was stealing the mag,
Okay.
Yeah.
and then you would go take the mag back to your house, and then you would have
There's
to
your PV.
And the mag was now, mind you, the mag was under a door, which was under some trees, which was under some leaves, and so the mag had to, and sometimes you'd put the mag like in a plastic like Ziploc bag or something like that to try to keep, because if water ruined it, a real bad rain or a snowstorm, and that mag, well, you get the mag, and then you get home and you wipe all the dirt and the maggots and the worms off of it, and then you go to the page where the girls kicked it out wide, where you can see her, her garage, and then you go to town on yourself. Then you get your party. Then you got to take the mag back because there might be somebody.
Return it.
Yeah,
The best was
the community mag.
Did you ever you're riding your bike and it's like garbage day and you're just driving around and all of a sudden you look down, there's like a pile of dirty mags that like some guy's wife found and made him throw them all away?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, that's like jackpot.
One time, I forget who it was. I think it was the Spurlocks, and they were an older couple. Blitz. They were like in their 50s, and they didn't have any kids. Well, she must have found his stash.
Yep.
And so I'm riding my bike to Larry's, and I have to go by the Spurlocks, and here's this, like literally probably 100 penthouses.
Jeez.
And it's like in their, back then it was a metal garbage can.
Okay.
And then there was a bag beside of it.
Yep.
It was all, but I could kind of tell that it was books just by the outline of the bag. So I stopped my bike and I looked, and it was probably 100 penthouses, and penthouses were good. Like, they actually showed girls like,
really getting after
urinating and like all kinds of stuff. And then the good thing about the penthouses were they had the stories. So, Anna, you could read a story and be like, she came into the bedroom with.
Are those things had words in them?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
The pictures.
And so I remember picking it up. Well, Blitz, the bottom fell out of it.
Oh, no.
So I'm driving it home, I'm trying
Just
to.
nude mad flying
and it's about from my house, from the Spurlock house was about from here to 7-Eleven, right? So I grab it, and you gotta, at that point, Blitz, you gotta try to, it's pretty heavy.
Oh,
and you're trying to ride your bike with one hand and not wipe out and not lose the T-mags. I get almost to my mom and dad's driveway, and it breaks. The books break.
Oh, no.
So I look around. There's nobody looking. So I go and take my bike up to the garage, and I go and get my mom's. And my mom, back in the day, my mom would save like the paper grocery bags.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
And she'd fold them all up, and she'd use them for other things, like whatever, garbage or whatever. So I went and got 2 of her brown paper grocery bags and put these penthouses in it. and then hid it. You got to hide it.
Yeah,
Of
because if your
course.
mom finds it, she's gonna throw them away.
She's
If your
gonna
dad
use
finds
them
it,
out.
he's going to use them.
And if Doug finds it, Doug's going to be like, my God, I didn't have these.
Now I do.
So I went up to my dad's attic. Hit this, Blitz, like in a bigger garage, you have those pull down attic doors.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, the stairs.
Mhm.
So I got that, and I'm putting them up there, but then I have to hide them with it because my dad used to go up to his attic all the time because he kept like paint and like supplies and stuff like that.
Sure.
He kept stuff up there that he needed, fenders and like stuff he was working on.
Yeah.
So I had to go in the attic and hide that. So I go and I put it way, way furthest back by the attic, but I put it on top of some insulation.
Oh,
Well, really underneath that insulation is just like drywall for the top of the garage ceiling.
yeah.
Well, next thing you know, I forgot that we had like plywood where you would step on. You couldn't step on the insulation because you go right through. So the next thing, we're outside. It's a Saturday, and I call Larry Plummer. I said, "Hey, I got like 80 or 90 Penthouse magazines, pristine condition, like unbelievable."
Yeah.
And Larry's like, "Wow, can I have a couple?" I'm like, "Yeah, you can have a couple, but they're my dad's attic right now." And so that Saturday, I was going to get them out. Well, my dad's in the garage, and he's like, "God damn it, why in the hell is that one bit of drywall sagging?"
Oh no.
And I'm like, "What do you mean, Dad?" And he goes, "Look at that back piece of drywall back there. We must have a leak or something upstairs."
You're like, I'll go check it.
He goes, "Yeah, of course." He wasn't. He said, "Go upstairs and see if we got water coming through, causing that piece of drywall to flex. Can't you see the?" Well, it was where I had the magazines.
Right.
And I was like, "Oh my God!" So I went up there and I'm up there. He's like, "Did you find it?" And I go, "Yeah, Dad. There's like something heavy on it, And so I took one of his, like a wheel from his old car or
okay.
something, and I put over there. And I said, "Dad, did you know that you had like a wheel, a rim?" He goes, "I didn't have the rim on there. I had the rim propped up on the 2x4. I go, "No,
Yeah, right where it was at.
right. He had the rim in the right place.
Yeah.
But I moved the rim over." I said, "Dad, the rim." He's like, "Well, I don't know have you been up there? Have you been up there?" I go, "No, Dad, I don't ever go up here." So I had to blame it on the rim. So I had to take the garbage bags full of and move them onto one that had like a support deal, and then I put a blanket over them, hoping that Dad wouldn't go up there for the next day or two, that I could get him out.
Yeah.
So then I got him out, put him in a garbage bag, and then stored him in the woods.
Oh, there you go.
And then told all the boys, "Hey, listen." And I was, oh my God, I was the coolest guy in the entire
You were
neighborhood.
The porno king.
Word got out to Matt Gibson, the Moore boys, Lewis Bouse, Larry Plummer. They're like, "Hey, Bubba found like 80, penthouses, and they're back in the woods." We had just one little area, Blitz, that we had taken like wood and doors and some old windows, and we kind of made we dug a hole, and we kind of made like a foxhole kind of deal that was somewhat weather tight. And unless we just got torrential rain, And so for the longest time, I was the most popular guy in the neighborhood until but then somebody took them.
Yeah.
I think some rival.
Oh no!
From guys from another neighborhood took it. So I remember going to the bus stop one day, and Matt Gibson's like, "Hey, the magazines are all gone." And I go, "What do you mean they're all gone? There was like 80 of them." He's like, "They're all gone." I go, "Who in the hell would take them? There's only like 8 of us who know who they are." And we were like trying to find out who took them. We never found them.
You think it was the guys from Wawasee?
No, from Tippecanoe Valley, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. But that really ruins your party.
That's when you got to find the Brawl magazines, unfortunately.
Brawl. You jade off to Brawl?
The
Oh,
Sears,
yeah.
the Sears catalog.
That's kind of when I discovered the shop vac.
Oh.
That was the best.
We didn't have a shop vac. We just had, the Kmart ads.
I had the shop vac, and I didn't even need a magazine for that. I just stuck my wiener right in there, turned it on. No, Blitz, the reason why it worked is because it was a shop vac that was worn out. It was it didn't have very much suction at all. And so, like, if you got a brand new shop vac, it would hurt
Yeah,
your
rip
wiener.
it off.
Because you got to create an airtight seal in order to, to really. Well, this one was just about on its last leg, but just enough suction to get, to get your wiener right.
Mm.
And then I wore that out.
I bet.
And then my dad was like, well, this shop vac's crap. We need to get a new one. And I'm like,
nothing wrong with it. Can I have that one?
No, he threw it away.
Oh, no.
He says, well, this thing's junk. This thing won't pick up nothing.
Dad, don't throw that away.
It picks up just enough for what I need it for, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I was addicted to that shop vac.
You didn't take it out of the trash?
Every day. No, I just let it, because, no, I didn't.
Shop vac, come with me. I love you.
That shop, I can remember like it was green. It was a green shop vac, like an old, like 1972. And it wasn't even a shop vac. It was originally, Blitz, like a house vacuum, and it had a big steel wand on it, and it went to like
what the hell?
Oh, it was an old school. House vac that my mom had, used for years, and then she didn't want it anymore, and she got a new sweeper, like a new upright. This was one that had wheels on it, and it had a big tube and a big metal wand. And it sucked it into like a thing that was like maybe the half the size of a 5-gallon bucket, and you had wheels, and you had to roll it around and suck it. Well, my mom, she wore it out with the carpet, so my mom got like a brand new upright for Christmas one day, and that one went out to my dad's garage because my dad was like, "Yeah, I'll suck up lead shavings and stuff like that."
And my son's.
It took years of me just in order to figure out that was exactly the
tool
strength of suction that I needed to be able to have a party in it.
Yummy.
And all the lead shavings.
Yeah, I never thought about that. My dad, I don't think he was using it for lead shavings anymore, because that would probably make them a little clumpy, would they not?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Entrails, insides of bodies.
Yeah, but so Larry, I'm sitting at the curb, and Larry's like, "Hey, have you ever, played with your wiener so that it does something at the end?" I go, "Mm-mm." He goes, "Well, Tom Johnston told me that if you play with it long enough, then eventually something comes out, and it feels really good." I'm like, well, how does that work? And he goes, "I don't know. Yeah, I have not done it yet, but I'm going to try it." I go, "Me too." And that's when you realize that just playing with it, there's a payoff.
Right.
Well, I mean, how did you learn? Like, how did you was it the neighborhood older kids that told you? Like,
yeah,
how did you learn?
It was actually pretty similar to yours. It was after baseball practice at school, waiting for my mom, and the kid's name was Kyle. And he kind of started being like, "Hey, have you tried it? This and that." And he had an older brother. And then he gave me one of his like old magazines, and I took it home and tried it out.
Yeah, but did he tell you that you had to, keep,
Stop believing?
Yeah, that you had to like keep.
You got to keep going until something came out.
Right, there you go. Blitz, how did you learn?
I'm pretty sure it was like an older neighborhood kid, like a couple years older.
Like the way we did.
Yeah, I think so.
Be like, "Hey, Blitz, you do this, you do that, and then eventually this happens."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Filthy Ginger, how did you learn how to masturbate with a party?
Same deal.
Yeah.
Just kind of word of mouth. My buddy said this, my other buddy said this.
Yeah. We're like, it's like,
let me check this out.
On it for us guys, it's like very much a primitive Neanderthal animal kind of deal. Because your dad, none of our dads, and all of our dads come in different shapes and sizes and different whatevers, but the common denominator amongst every one of our fathers is they never took us aside and told us about masturbating.
Nope. No way.
Like my dad didn't say, "Well, listen, son, here's what you do. You start doing this and then that." No.
That'd be weird.
Yeah, it is because it's weird.
That would be
so you
really
just
weird.
hope that you rely on the older boys.
Well, you know that they're gonna just figure it out eventually.
Yeah, but you want to be on the early end of figuring it out. You don't want to be like
The last to know.
Yeah. Because it really unleashes. There's some type of endorphin that it releases. Actually, it ruins you.
That's what I was going to say. You almost want to be the last one to know.
You almost want to be the last one to know because it ruins you.
Sure does.
Because you're always looking for that
Next
hit. Next nut.
Release.
That's the way I thought about it after thinking about it for a while. At first, I couldn't fathom how he turned out to be this far down the continuum. I mean, we're all on a continuum.
We are? Where am I on a continuum, Lana?
I'm not quite sure.
We all do bad things. We all sin. He was at the extreme of this continuum.
You think?
I couldn't at
You
first
think?
understand how.
Drilling holes in African-American 14-year-old little boys? Drilling holes in his head and throwing acid into his brain so that he's a zombie? You think that he's on the... I think he's on the other end of the spectrum of continuum, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How he could have done those things.
Did you ask him? Did you say, Jeff, how in the world could you make this okay in your mind?
I was concentrating mostly on getting him into a psychiatric hospital. I didn't ask him that specifically, but I did tell him, Jeff, we've got to find out how on earth you could have done these things.
Defend? Let's say that you're the dad of Jeffrey Dahmer, and all the things that Jeffrey Dahmer did, your kid did.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I can lawyer him up to defend this. I mean, I think there comes a point where you got to say, this is indefensible. I know you're my kid, and I'm supposed to stick by you through thick and through thin, and man, I would under almost any circumstance. If my kid called me up and said I did something super bad, I'd do everything I could to help him.
Yep.
But there comes a point where you got to say, man, buddy, you're broken. I mean, you've killed how many? You've killed 17 people and ate most of them? I can't even wrap my head around that. In fact, I don't even want to be your dad. Lose my number.
You better use Heinz ketchup, because if you use that Hunt stuff, I'm going to disown you.
Hello.
Hey, you're talking about ways you learned how to do that, man, and I'll be, clinical or whatever, but, man, I was laying in my bed. I was about 12 years old, laying in my bed thinking about this girl from school, and, I had wood, got an erection, and, I pulled the comforter up, man. I pulled the comforter over me, and it rubbed against me, man, and when it did, I just kept throwing the comforter down, pulling it up, throwing it down, covering it up, and,
You started making love. You made love to your comforter.
well, basically, I'm just glad my damn dog didn't jump up there now that I'm listening to this.
Yeah, I mean, I used to take a hot sock and run hot water on it and then put it in the microwave and then use a hot sock. Do that. I used to do that.
I'd have probably burnt the crap out of myself. I'd have tried that, but
yeah,
man. Within about a month, when my mom went to watch the comforter, it was like a damn cracker.
Yeah, I have a similar story. I used my mom's dish rag one time to clean up a party and put it back into rotation. That didn't work out too well when my dad saw how stiff the towel was.
I'm sure he knew what the gig was.
Appreciate you, buddy.
All right, man. Thanks.
Thanks.